Norfolk Southern and the other freight rail companies need to stop fighting us every time we try to do a regulation in order to hold them accountable and their other railroad companies accountable for their safety record.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Who's the only local bank with a mobile mortgage app? Farmers. Download the app to contact your lender, calculate payments, securely scan and upload documents, and check the status of your loan. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal, Farmers.
So you can see how hard people are working to clean up this site. And again, I met with some of the folks involved in that on everything from the testing to the remediation. And they are doing good work. They need to be supported. If at any moment we see any evidence that Norfolk Southern is backsliding on their commitments, or that anybody is not doing this by the book and then some, we're going to be there with any authorities that we have on the matter, and this whole administration will, because this is too important to let people down. We need to make sure we have the strongest, toughest possible hand when it comes to dealing with these railroad companies. And to me, it's both specific to this location, which is that as long as Norfolk Southern is running trains on this track, and as long as anybody is feeling the impacts of this disaster, Norfolk Southern has to be there. Not just this year, not just when all the press are here, but every single day. But also, Norfolk Southern and the other freight rail companies need to stop fighting us every time we try to do a regulation in order to hold them accountable and their other railroad companies accountable for their safety record. And what we've seen is industry goes to Washington and they get their way. They got their way on the ECP rule. They got their way on a Christmas tree of regulatory changes that the last administration made on its way out the door in December of 2020. I think they're getting their way on the fines being too low. I'm sorry, but if the biggest fine we can charge on a violation is $250,000 or less, and that's an egregious hazmat violation to get somebody killed, that is not enough for a multi-billion-dollar company.
So what do you do about all that, sir?
Well, we're acting on it with the authorities we have and calling on members of Congress to act on it with the authorities they have, and the railroads not to wait on us to require them to do the right thing on their own. If you talk to the unions representing workers in the rail industry, number one thing they talk about when I'm with them, before they even get to wages and benefits, is safety. And they have weighed in on safety. Matter of fact, again, if you look at the record and comb through the fine print on the December 2020 rulemaking under the last administration, there's a whole bunch of comments from labor on why they were concerned from a safety perspective, and then all of the rationale for why their concerns were overruled. We know that, for example, and this is one of the biggest things we're working on, we know that one safety issue is how many people are on a train. This one had 3 people on it, a trainee and 2 others, according to the NTSB report. And that's actually more than you sometimes get on a mile-long train. The railroad companies want to be able to take it down to 1. One thing that workers have told us, unions have told us, and that we feel strongly about, is there needs to be an actual regulation on this. It was in the works. The last administration froze it. From the moment we got here, we've been resuming the work on advancing that regulation because it's an example of something that workers have been asking about that bears on safety. Again, I will say it of NTSB's business on whether crewing and staffing, how that might have related to this case. Too early for me to go around making judgments on that. But we know that if you got a train that's a mile long and something goes wrong halfway down it and you got 1 guy on there, that's going to be a problem.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Who's the only local bank with a mobile mortgage app? Farmers. Download the app to contact your lender, calculate payments, securely scan and upload documents, and check the status of your loan. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal, Farmers.